What's dangerous is when the universe pick you and you put on the magic glasses. There's rules that go with them. You can never take them off. You never see things as they're supposed to be. You see things as they are. And you can never force nobody else to wear them.
I think while I lie awake and contemplate tonight are wearing me out. Well, maybe tomorrow the world will wake and get it right, but I have my doubts, yeah. During the day, well, I design machines of war that scream through the sky. 'Cause I, for one, I like to go to bed free at night under these stars and stripes. And I have my doubts that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts, and I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. Yes, I have my doubts, but they'll wind you up and pull the cord until you're spun right out. And I don't understand. Roll the dice and raise the price to feed the machine's mouth. Call it the progress of man. And I have my doubts that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts. And I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. I have my doubts, so I'll drink my stuff and raise some hell and shoot my guns to the end of my time. You can have the booze and go to hell and take the guns, but I know they won't be mine. Messed up and out of touch, let's text someone who's in the other room. So don't wonder why we don't say hi or know anyone. I might as well move to the moon. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that so maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. Well, the things I think, well, I lie awake and contemplate at night are wearing me out.
Good evening. Hope everyone's doing well. It's probably gonna be kind of a quick show tonight. I'm just I don't know. I don't know what words to put on it. Frustrated. Can't say disappointed because it's so much the norm nowadays that I don't expect anything else. Here we made it to another apocalypse or another alpacalypse, however you want to look at it. And it's so damn frustrating. Did CERN cause the end of the world to happen today? No. Did NASA rockets cause the end of the world to happen today? No. Did the Illuminati and the whatever cause the end of the world today? No. But we just went through a week or two of everybody and their brother telling you about how one way or another it was the end of the world. And then you got the fence setters, right? People like Prepared Homestead. You know, well, we're not saying the end of the world was going to come. You know, we don't say stuff like that. But make sure you're ready at every moment, every single day, and send us money for our fire station. It's frustrating to see the same song and dance every single time. None of these people are ever even expected, not even expected, to make comment about their claims ever again. And in fact, they're encouraged to do it all over again with a whole new set of made-up issues. Rinse and repeat. Week after week after week. You got dipshit Bear Independent talking some shit about gas and diesel again. Not got enough brain cells in his fucking head. Or not enough attention span to realize that, guess what? That tank of diesel fuel that all the people bought you, it's gonna run out, dipshit. What about then? Oh, well, my tribe, I got my tribe and Bill and Caleb House, which is their bug out place. I mean, come on. I have never seen a bigger sham going on than that when it comes to YouTube and shams. That's the sham of all shams, I'm telling you. And all you got to do is pay attention. All you got to do is listen. Because he tells on himself plenty. You got to want to hear it, though. But it's just frustrating. And each and every week they're coming out with another damn thing that you need to be so flipped out about that you got to do this or you got to do that. The frustrating part for me is all their nonsensical bullshit drowns out those of us that are just trying to bring you the information, just trying to tell you the news. If you were of the mindset that today wasn't some big satanic ritual day and the Illuminati was going to come out with their alien overlord reptilian masters, and again, they don't get held to task on it. Ever. Ever. It makes a person wonder what the fuck they're doing when they've came here for the last 10 years just trying to tell the truth. Just trying to help people get prepared in ways that even the geniuses in the preparedness community can't figure out. I've actually enjoyed gaming over the last several days. I've actually enjoyed it. I've actually dreaded having to quit. I haven't felt that way in so long. And pretty much zero interest in coming here. Just makes a person wonder what the hell's the point. I don't know. Israel trapped, ceasefire, or all-out war. Iran's ultimatum. U.S. stifling pressure on Netanyahu. IDF mobilization. Says here, Iran delivered an ultimatum to the U.S. demanding the immediate withdrawal of Israeli forces from the Gaza and a ceasefire. In return, Iran will not strike Israel directly, which could lead to a generalized conflict in the region. No one knows yet what Israel's response will be, as if it happens, it will be, and is, defeat. Netanyahu is already receiving fierce attacks from Israeli analysts and political opponents who are calling for his immediate removal. The withdrawal of Israeli forces from Gaza has angered many Israelis as the objectives of the months-long operation have not been achieved. I don't think him pulling out those troops was an act of not continuing on with his plans. I think him pulling away those troops was part of the plan. Because what happens when they remove a bunch of their troops from the front lines? That's typically when they start to go in and do the bombing. So, I would imagine that's probably what you're going to see pick up in the Rafah area. It's going to be a massive bombing run. It's nothing but a bunch of games being played. You just watch the way it's all handled. It's a shame. These are human lives. These are people. Iranian attack is inevitable. No-fly zone in Iran. Netanyahu rejected the ultimatum and announced a new operation under the weight of an outcry. Says negotiations between the U.S., Israel, and Iran collapsed as Netanyahu announced late at night that the Israeli army will begin operations in Rafah, stressing a date has been set. There is also a wreck regarding the hostage release agreement. Hamas said that few hostages have been left alive, certainly not the number that Israel is asking for. It should be noted that there was a general outcry against Netanyahu for the decision to withdraw Israeli forces from Gaza. Says the Israeli expert stated that there is no prime minister in Israel who can end the war without destroying Hamas, which you can't destroy an idea. If Netanyahu does not enter Rafah, there will be his downfall. It is impossible for even a prisoner swap deal to lead to a different outcome, the result of which is Hamas staying in Gaza. The Channel 14 anchor addressed Netanyahu, saying, "I hope you watch us this morning and hear what all the pundits are saying. You promised us to attack Rafah, so deliver." I do not trust anything coming from the media either way. It does look like there may be an imminent strike. How? I don't know what to think at this point. I do think that Iran is definitely going to blacken their eye, or going to try to, I should say. Definitely going to try to blacken their eye. I don't think this is going to be a proxy deal. I don't think this is going to be any small-time stuff. I don't know that they would go nuclear, but I certainly see them getting in a few shots that count, so to speak. And then what will be the reply to that? I don't know. So you have to understand, this entire time that all of this has been going on, you can guarantee that people have been collecting data as to what was getting past the Iron Dome system. How was it getting past? What all the variables are. And I guarantee you that between absolutely swarming the air defense system and using the techniques that have already proven to work, they're going to make it count. And I do think it is going to be, I think it's going to be pretty jaw-dropping. That's just my guess. We'll see. We'll see. I think a lot of people are being set up for a slaughter, and when I say that, I mean a lot of people. A lot of people around the planet, as a matter of fact. We have got conflicts that it looks like it's going to fire up, that's literally going to have everybody in the world at war. I mean, probably the biggest world war there ever has been. Got so many other countries that the bigger nations have befriended and tried to stick a base on, or, get special permissions. So even people that wouldn't normally want involved in it have already, in one way or another, contracted with this nation or that nation. Not particularly a good situation. Let me have a couple of babes. For the first time since World War II, German soldiers were deployed abroad. The first forces arrived in Lithuania. Kind of a shocking statement. German Defense Minister Boris Pistorius described the start of the mission of the German brigade in Lithuania as a key step on improving the capability of NATO forces and as an important day for the Bundeswehr German armed forces. This is the first time we have permanently set such a unit out of Germany, Pistorius said today in Berlin during a farewell ceremony for the initial command of the Lithuanian brigade. The 20 military personnel will lay the groundwork for the deployment of hundreds, eventually thousands of troops to the NATO country, which borders Poland as well as Belarus and the Russian enclave of Kaliningrad. I know a lot needs to be done on the ground. The infrastructure must be right. There must be barracks accommodation, said Pistorius. A lot still needs to be done on the Lithuanian side, he added. We will do everything we can to equip the brigade because it must be equipped from the beginning, he said to the soldiers. The war in Ukraine has turned NATO's planning towards strengthening its eastern flank. The brigade, which will be designated Panzer Brigade 45, will be in full operational capacity by 2027 and will consist of approximately 4,800 permanent soldiers and approximately 200 civilian personnel of the German armed forces and their families. The initial command is expected to grow to a strength of approximately 150 men and women by the fourth quarter of 2024. Lithuanian Defense Minister Laurynas Kasčiūnas, who took office just this last month, will welcome the 20 or so German soldiers at Vilnius airport. In a post on social media, he wrote that he is thrilled to welcome them. Kasčiūnas also said today that the cost of the building proper living and working facilities for the German brigade would reach around 80 million euros. He also told Lithuanian radio that the development is proceeding as planned. So, NATO's expanding, just like they were warned against doing. Let's see. 4 more tabs open. Just tired. U.S. fortifies Baltics and Scandinavia ahead of developments. NATO command center in Kiev. German brigade in Suwalki corridor. The German and Russian soldiers face off in the Suwalki corridor from today as the deployment of German brigade in Lithuania began. The Germans will try to stop, together with the Polish army, a possible Russian advance from Belarus to Kaliningrad. German Defense Minister Boris Pistorius described the start of the mission of the German brigade in well, this is just saying what it said earlier. Let me not repeat the same stuff. Simultaneously with the increase of NATO forces in the Baltic, NATO established an advisory body in the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, in which representatives of the member countries of the alliance participate. According to Moscow, this is a committee which will not only exercise internal control but will have expanded powers. The Russians imply that this committee will be the NATO-Ukraine liaison and prepare the arrival of French and other forces in the country. According to the same sources, the arrival of the French forces will be through Romania and not Poland. The Russians believe that Romania will become the central hub for the transfer of forces to Odessa. From Ukraine, the committee includes Ukrainian expert of national and international projects under the auspices of Ministry of Finance Ruslana Rudnitskaya, Minister of Foreign Affairs, and Deputy Minister of Defense Yuri Dizhgur. As for the representatives of Western countries in the Commission, they are the head of the External Oversight Service at NATO headquarters, Francois Gauthier, the Surveillance Program Analyst of the Office of the Inspector General, and the U.S. Department of Defense, Joseph Ingignoli, I guess, the head of the British Internal Audit Company, JC Audit Training Limited, John Cheshire, as well as an international expert on the international financial control of the state under the EU program for Ukraine, Manfred van Kesteren. According to the Russians, other senior NATO officials also participate in the commission. Fun times. Oh, man. All Ukrainians must fight, says General. Says Ukrainian citizens must realize that none of them will be able to escape mobilization as Kiev's military suffers personnel shortages, Land Forces Commander Alexander Pavlyuk warned in a Facebook post on Monday. Last Wednesday, Ukraine lowered the military conscription age from 27 to 25 in an effort to replenish its depleted ranks. In his message, Pavlyuk urged Ukrainians to put aside their emotions and enlist in the armed forces, stating that the army and the people are inseparable and that the protection of the state is the constitutional duty of a citizen. It is necessary to understand that no one can sit this out. The face of the country, the fate of our people is at stake, the commander wrote. He suggested that no one would be spared by Russia in the fighting, neither those who hid nor those who betrayed Ukraine. The general admitted that the situation on the front line is not easy, but suggested that it was far more predictable and controlled than it was 2 years ago. However, he stressed that no matter how much help in the form of money or weapons Ukraine receives from abroad, it is still lacking in manpower. So again, they will put, and they don't care. They do not care who they put on that front line. It's ridiculous. Why would a citizen want to fight for a nation like that would be my question. In my opinion, you only have a duty to fight for your nation if your nation is righteous. If your nation's not righteous, I'm sorry, but you should not be obliged to go to war to put your life on the line for a bunch of corrupt people that have done everything in their power not to put their lives in risk. I still think that the rules should be that the children of the members of government have to go to war first. They're the first ones that should have to go to battle. If you made a rule that the children of the elected people that voted to go to war, that they were going out first, you would see a lot more hesitance to go sending people to combat. But if they can distance themselves from the situation because it's your kids and not theirs, they don't care. I don't know how the United States went from not supposed to have one standing army to have so many standing armies, it's unreal. And none of them doing the job that they're supposed to be doing. That's the part that gets me. Oh, but you better claim that $5 you got from Solly for making her a necklace. Somebody got to pay for all that money. We can't close up the border, but we're damn sure going to close up that income tax gap. You better believe that. New U.S. defense doctrine. Europe takes on Russia and Asian NATO on China. Japan and Canada join AUKUS. Pretty much says it all right there just in the headline. The sides are being drawn up. I don't think it's going to be much longer. Pardon me. All right, last article I have open. U.S. facing worst risks since World War II, says J.P. Morgan boss. Says U.S. is facing grave risks in the wake of rising global geopolitical tensions and the nation's domestic political polarization. Jamie Dimon, J.P. Morgan Chase chief executive, has warned. In an annual shareholder letter on Monday, the CEO of the largest U.S. bank cited large amounts of government spending and efforts by the Federal Reserve to shrink its balance sheet, as well as the Ukraine conflict and the Israel-Hamas war, as creating an environment that may very well be creating risks that could eclipse anything since World War II. America's global leadership role is being challenged outside by other nations and inside by our polarized electorate, Dimon wrote. We need to find ways to put aside our differences and work in partnership with other Western nations in the name of democracy. During this time of great crisis, uniting to protect our essential freedoms, including free enterprise, is paramount, the chief executive urged. These folks ain't interested in free enterprise. The 68-year-old banker added that there is a growing need for increased spending as we continue transitioning to a greener economy, restructuring global supply chains, boosting military expenditure, and battling rising healthcare costs. Dimon said he is not as optimistic as the broader market that the U.S. economy will achieve a soft landing in which it sees modest growth and declining inflation rates. Chances of a soft landing are a lot less than the 70% to 80% expected by some investors, he said. These significant and somewhat unprecedented forces cause us to remain cautious, the J.P. Morgan boss concluded. Meanwhile, Dimon said China has been establishing itself as a potential superpower and strategically focusing on its economic security while the West slept. Over the last 20 years, China has been executing a more comprehensive economic strategy than we have, he said. He also weighed in on the future of AI, saying he is completely convinced that the consequences of the technology will be extraordinary and transformational. J.P. Morgan is already exploring the use of AI in software development and employee production plans, particularly in the fraud and risk departments, he said. Talks about how the consequences, he's completely convinced the consequences of the technology will be extraordinary. The consequences, okay, and transformational. In other words, it's probably going to bring about a lot of bad stuff, especially when it comes to, a lot of people no longer having jobs. And then follows up by talking about how his business is looking to eliminate people using AI. It's bad while everybody else does it, but it's okay if we do it. We're just one. We're just one. It's okay if we do it. That's how that works. Same with like the poisons and stuff that are in the foods. That's how that works too. Right? Because when the FDA and the EPA are all doing their figures, they're like, well, this one company, this one product puts, this percentage of bad stuff in their product. That's fine. That's fine. That's not too much for a daily dose. But what they didn't do is add up all the daily doses of all the other companies and their products that you got a little bit of this or a little bit of that. Cocktail toxicity is what most meals are. Really, truly is. Even if you try to do stuff as much as you can yourself, you're still going to get a lot of bad stuff. A lot of bad stuff. Anyway. I've really been enjoying my coffee better off the percolator. I actually used the wood stove this evening, my little wood one that hoo, and man, that thing is so incredible how good it works. I actually used it though. I used wood to brew my coffee. Works good. The best thing about using this stuff is at this point I'm getting so familiar with using both the percolator and the different stoves and stuff like that. I mean, it's old hat already. I've already got even the little wood stove. I've got down to a science on how to run that thing to where you don't put in too much wood and at the same time, you got enough in there to do the job. So already getting that figured out pretty well. That is a kick-ass little wood stove, though. I'll have to do a video with me running it the way it's supposed to be ran. When I did that first video with it, I knew I made a mistake throwing those sticks in there. Just round sticks that I didn't do anything to. That's the worst thing you can ever do, especially in a stove like that. That stove wants to burn hot, and there's one thing that bark could do, and that's prevent that wood from burning hot. Anyway, I had no problem getting it lit today either, at all. I mean, none. I'm going to show you just how easy. I'll make a video and show you just how easy it is to light that thing. When you get that flame started, man, it does the rest from there. Alright, let's run through some headlines. Go to bed and probably get up in the morning and start shooting people in the face and being shot in the face. I do a lot more killing than I do dying, though. So I'm actually pretty surprised at my kill-death ratio. I'm actually completely shocked at my kill-death ratio, to be honest. I do a lot better than I thought I did. I need to go back into some of those missions now and try them again, now that I'm a little more familiar with dodging missiles and tips and tricks on fighting. What I love to do, a lot of mountain ranges on the maps. I love to fly in real low, real super low. And then about 6 or so miles away from a fighter, pop up, lock on, and pop an AIM 120 off at them. By the time that reaches them enough that its own active radar picks up and takes over, then you're close enough for a heat-seeking missile. So that's what I typically always do. That way if my AIM 120 misses, because they do, if my AIM 120 misses, I back it up with a heat-seeking missile. And that gets them a lot of the times. It is a fun game. Anyway. France rejecting anti-terrorism cooperation, says Moscow. UK to pressure US House Speaker on Ukraine aid, says Telegraph. French mayor arrested after 70 kilograms of cannabis found at her home, says media. Insiders describe Trump's Ukraine plan to Washington Post. China's growth forecast raised. Musk defies Supreme Court judge's order to block X accounts in Brazil. Kiev's top spy reveals main intermediary with Russia. South Korea seizes crypto from tax delinquents, says media. IAEA condemns reckless drone attack on Zaporozhye nuclear power plant. Finland sees no chance for peace in Ukraine. Russian embassy in EU state capital firebombed. West could punish Slovakia for electing Ukraine skeptic president, says PM. Support for authoritarian Zelensky falling, says German media. Ukrainian drone attack on nuclear plant a dangerous provocation, says Kremlin. China dismisses Washington's threat of consequences. Russia claims significant evidence of Kiev's involvement in Crocus terrorist attack. Nicaragua takes Germany to court over arms sales to Israel. Polish president pours cold water on fears of Russian attack. Trump reveals stance on abortion. Covered that. Vatican speaks out against sex change surgery. One killed in overpass collapse in Russia. Hang on, got an article up there. Let me get it shared out. Father of aid worker slain by IDF in Gaza urges U.S. to suspend aid to Israel. EU sanctions hawk increases Russian grain imports. All Ukrainians must... I covered that. Possible dates for Swiss proposed Ukraine peace talks named in media. Ukraine spares clowns from military drafts, says RIA. Let's see. Spain to end golden visa program. Russian missile obliterates Ukrainian drone factory. The new Turkish VTOL drone looks like the Greek Arcturus UAV. Okay then. Approximately 3,000 Wagner mercenaries and the famous commander Radibor joined the forces of Akhmat. Whatever that means. European leaders on Medvedev's blacklist. You are complicit, and there will be no forgiveness. Economist revelation, 120,000 Russian troops prepare to attack Kharkiv. Ukraine admits half of thermal power plants have been destroyed by Russian bombings. Covered that and that. U.S. fortifies Baltics and Scandinavia ahead of deployments. NATO Commander Center in Kiev and German brigade in Suwalki corridor. New NATO member expels Chinese journalist. 37% of NATO members don't pay their way, says Washington. Canada mulls getting nuclear submarines. Ukraine losing the war, says U.S. Senate leader. Article, did the Ukrainians hit the Serpukhov or something corvette in Kaliningrad? Apparently it suffered serious damage. Let's see. Putin is twice as popular as Biden in multiple Mideast and African states, says a poll. That's not surprising. Putin could probably run for president in the United States and poll better than Biden. Just saying. Probably could. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here. God willing, I'll be back tomorrow. We'll do it again. I just hope people start calling out the nonsense, because it just really gets old. Anyway, I hope y'all have a good night. As always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit. And shalom.